We're racing in New York. It's the first time all the way down here. Okay, my view is blocked. See, I'm not the tallest guy in the world. My view is easily blocked. First time in nearly 100 years we've been racing in New York, but you've been in the America's Cup your entire adult life. What does it mean to you to be racing here in the United States and representing America?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, I don't think you get a better stadium than the Hudson River and what you've got right in front of the Manhattan skyline. I mean, it's one of the, if not the coolest city in the world. You've got some real iconic stadiums and ballparks here, but one that you're probably underutilizing is this one out here. It can hold the biggest amount of people. It's free, everyone can come down, families, and you're going to get to see some of the coolest boats in the world tearing around the river. It's very, very exciting to be here.
You're famous for the comeback 3 years ago. You're down 8-1, you reel off 8 consecutive wins. First of all, how did you fall into that hole, and then how did you climb out of it and come back?
Yeah, it's a question we asked a lot, and how did we get to that point? It's certainly something we want to change this next time. But really, to come back like that, it all comes down to the people. We had an incredible team, great attitude. They never gave up, and they just focused one race at a time. And it was a amazing experience. But certainly, next time we'd much prefer to front load it and try and win a lot more races at the start. But we're very, very excited to come here to New York. It really is a privilege to be able to race, just outside there. And as all the other guys, we're looking forward to the racing.
Let's ask a question of Ben Ainsley. Proud of Britain's maritime history, no question about that. Considering you guys suggested the race back in 1851 and have never won it,
thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah. How much does that irritate you?
Well, quite a lot. That's why we're here. As Jimmy was saying, it's fantastic for the America's Cup to be back in New York. I think the last time it was raced in New York Harbor was back in 1920 with Sir Thomas Lipton as a British challenger against the Americans. So, yeah, like all the other teams, we're delighted to be here. Our goal is very much to try and bring the America's Cup back to Britain, where it all started in 1851. So it's been 165 years of hurt for us. But yeah, we're excited. We're looking forward to the series this week and moving on with the rest of the World Series and then into the Cup in Bermuda.
Give us a scenario by which Britain can bring it home this time.
Well, ultimately we have to beat all of the other challenging teams which are here, some fantastic teams and sailors, and then get through to the final against Jimmy and the guys. I was with them last time in 2013, so it's a little bit awkward taking on your old teammates, but we have fantastic rivalry, a huge amount of respect between the teams, and we would love to be that team that gets through and ultimately to take the cup off Jimmy.
Frank, you missed the last event in Oman. You had a serious foot injury. You're back now. Explain to the folks what the selection process is like. Who gets to be on board each time as opposed to the previous or the next?
Hello. Actually, we did a lot of training during the winter, and we have 10 sailors in the team, and we work together, and then for each event we choose the best team in terms of skills and also in terms of weight, but it's important that all the crew and the sailors work together during all the year.
Does the French team have plenty of wine and cheese on board? He said, yeah, for sure, even though his mic wasn't turned on. Glenn, you were on the other side of that Oracle Team USA comeback, Team New Zealand. What would it mean for an America's Cup to come to New Zealand?
Yeah, well, obviously, like Ben wanting to take the cup back to Britain, we very much want to take the cup back to Auckland in New Zealand. So, obviously being so close last time to pulling that off and achieving that goal, the fire and the desire to take that on and to take the cup back to New Zealand, for me, certainly is very much a priority, and we're going to do absolutely everything we can to make that happen.
Here in the United States, the America's Cup is a major event, especially when it's on American waters, but it competes for sports attention along with a bevy of other sports. Clearly there are other sports that are popular in New Zealand as well, but I would think that something like the America's Cup is closer to the top.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think certainly in New Zealand, you know, sailing is very much one of the top level sports, and I think around the world, yachting is definitely, you know, becoming more and more extreme, and I think the types of boat that we're sailing at the moment certainly showcase the fact that wind and water mixed with the types of boat we're sailing are pretty exciting. So I think that the people out there are going to see some excellent action if we get some decent breeze.
Dean, you left Team New Zealand, started your own startup crew, in effect, SoftBank Team Japan. What led to that change?
There was a variety of reasons. You know, mainly, you know, sort of keen to be able to continue racing, and you know, it's what I've always done, what I'm passionate about, and will continue to do while I can. And yeah, the opportunity to be involved in starting a new team, to get Japan back into the America's Cup after the last time they raced, which was 2000 in Auckland in New Zealand, to sort of build up the profile of sailing again in Japan. It's a minority sport, very much so there, but with this type of event, this environment, the TV product we now have, the way that the America's Cup's been reshaped, it's a fantastic opportunity to build the sport of sailing in Japan, and we've got some you know, very strong following and very good support out of Japan.
Yeah, in Japan, obviously, it's not baseball, it's not track and field, but if you were to win the America's Cup, it would move it up.
Well, you'd hope so. That's you know, I think you know, again, sailing is not a big sport there, but I think if we can develop as a group, it's a new team. There are a lot of growing pains to get started, but you know, things really feel like they're starting to move forward well. You know, who knows what can happen, and you know, it would be, you know, be fantastic to realise the goal of this team now would be to win the America's Cup, but you know, a lot of water to go under the bridge before then.